So a couple of years ago, I stood on a stage kind of like this, and I made a confession. And that confession was that good is for everyone. Now, I know you're probably saying that's not much of a confession because, of course, good is for everyone. But this idea has been an organizing thought for me in my life and in my career, particularly over the past 5 years. Now, when I say good is for everyone, I actually mean two things. The first is that we have moved beyond a belief and a time when if you wanted to have a career in service, you needed to work for a nonprofit. That was really the way it was back when I graduated from college and what I like to call the Gordon Gekko greed is good era. Now, some of you might get the reference to the movie Wall Street, Michael Douglas, Charlie Sheen, but I digress. So back then, there were really two clear paths. One was a path toward a career in service working with a nonprofit. The other was a path to, well, let's just say a better funded life working in business. But things have changed. Today, we have many paths, and good is for individuals, nonprofits, organizations, and companies of all sizes. We have options. And that is tremendous because it means that we have so many more people at the table solving society's problems. So that's the first definition. The second reason I said good is for everyone is really about business specifically, that it's not just for the really big guys, the companies with a lot of reach and funding to make impact. It's also for mid-sized businesses like mine and small businesses because, you know what I'm going to say, good is for everyone. So that's what I was thinking 5 years ago. And I was really happy, the last couple of years, you see all of this incredible good and individuals and organizations and more people believing this and making it happen. But I'm standing on this stage today to make another confession. And that confession is that ESG is for everyone. So before I unpack this a bit for you, I want to take a step back and make sure that we're all on the same page about what ESG actually means. As a social responsibility professional, I cannot open my inbox without getting peppered with invitations to webinars and suggestions of resources and reporting tools to manage this thing called ESG. So to define it, ESG is the reporting of non-financial information, typically by public companies, to help investors make good decisions. Coupled with financial information, it gives a much broader picture of a company, of how it operates, of its impact on the climate, how it treats its people, and about the policies under which it is governed. When you group all of this information together, you are giving a much broader picture of your organization. And there are ratings agencies that are out there that are taking all this information and rating or scoring or grading you as a company to say how you're doing. So that's what ESG is. But in my travels and in my inbox, I've noticed something that has me standing here today. And what I've noticed is that ESG is being used to mean something that is actually broader than what it actually is. I think that ESG is being used to represent what truly is broad-based social responsibility. So, thinking that, I think it's time to step back and reframe, to change the aperture, to not limit it so much. So ESG is really something fundamentally for public companies, for ratings agencies, and we need to make it broader. And why do I think that? I think that because I don't want anyone to say, oh, this isn't for me. I don't need to do this. Because the social responsibility that it is representing should be and needs to be for all of us. So reframing this, thinking about it, ESG becomes everyone's shared goal. So what do I think we're sharing and what's our goal? I think we're sharing the responsibility to be citizens of the world, to care for the land, to care for other people, to think about how we purchase, to think about the decisions that we make. So I want us all to ask ourselves this question. Am I, as a human being, as a nonprofit board member, as a member of a community, as an employee of a company, making decisions through the lens of social responsibility? Am I sharing in this goal to make this world better and more sustainable? What does this look like? It looks like my 22-year-old son who just graduated from college and got a minor in sustainability, who grew up learning leave no trace camping, who now wants to chart a career that had its seeds in the evening under those stars. It's my 87-year-old father who faithfully plants his garden, first to feed us, my sisters and me, but now to feed his soul and to do his part, because vegetables should come from the earth and not from the store. It is nonprofits, not just caring about their missions, but also their operations. It's communities and governments investing in incubators for BIPOC-run small businesses. It's businesses of all sizes making goals and working toward progress. It is for all of us. There's a place for all of us in this equation. And we need that. We all need to be at the table, first thinking about our own actions, and then for the organizations that we found, lead, or work for. So what's next? What if we don't do this? I think the cost is too high. We have to. If we don't do this, it affects us all. What is a positive goal and idea becomes a very negative effect. It becomes children who turn into adults who are disengaged from society and the world that we live in, not responsible for it. It is nonprofits who focus on their missions and do wonderful work, unintentionally feeding into this cycle that we're trying to break. It is small to mid-sized businesses just saying, oh, that's not about me, that's a global issue. But if the pandemic taught us one thing, it taught us that we are deeply connected globally and hyper-locally. We now know that something that happens across the world in one community also affects us and affects our neighbors. We know that. So I started with a confession and I want to end with a call to action. Why do I care so much that ESG is for everyone, that it is a shared goal, that I want you to adopt a social responsibility mindset? Because the burden for not only sustaining life on Earth, but improving it for so many people has long rested with too few people and too few organizations. That is today. It does not have to be tomorrow. That is our choice. That is your choice. So what I would love all of us to do, I'd love for you to go out on the web, and I would love for you to Google or look up ESG. And I would love for you to look at those lists. Look at what's under the E, look at what's under the S, and look at what's under the G. And really unpack that. Like, you might have to decode it a little bit, but think about yourselves, think about your own lives, and think about, can I actually do some things differently if I applied this to myself? Now, don't worry, it's a journey. It takes everybody time to do this, and in fact, you'll probably never end. It keeps going on. So that's the first thing I'd love for you to do. The second thing I'd love for you to do is to join me in adopting a social responsibility mindset. The decisions you make, how you walk through life, how you operate within your own company. I want you to join me. I want you to lead from where you stand. Thank you.